All right, there we go. We are live. It is officially 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the 21st of March, 2019. Welcome, one and all. I made a video a little earlier today, and I was letting people know that I will be doing another live show at 6:30. I was originally just going to be doing this one, but I wanted to do an update on the comics and everything, so I took care of that. And look, Horror Breakdown, you're only third today. You're slacking. What's going on? Mr. Rockfish, hello, you are first today. Jordan Porter, welcome. And of course, Horror Breakdown, good to see you. Richard, Ariel, Chris, John, Probe, Jose, welcome each and every single one of you. Ariel says, cooking for the wife, so might not chat too much. Uh-oh. I'm getting in trouble now. Jake is here. He says, what's up? Excited to see what you picked up. Jake is one of the people that ordered one of my packages, and I don't know if you did a video or not about it, but if you did, make sure you put a link in the description. If not, if you want to tell people in the chat what you thought of it, let me know. Like anything in life, sometimes there's going to be some misses with the hits, but I'll take care of anybody, so don't worry about that. But I know Jake was one of the people said they were very happy with what they got. So Ray is here. I haven't seen you live in a while. Hello, Comic Mike, Jeff Miller, Kevin, The Natural Boy, Scott Wilson, Wild Child. He says hello, so I say hello back to you. Let me put on the video camera so you can see the unboxing slash unbagging. This is an interesting one. This is another comic where I made a deal by making a best offer. Now, I know I'm going to do a video soon of kind of teaching people how they can get better deals on comics. I mean, basically on eBay. Now, obviously, if you go to, like, antique shops and yard sales and spend hours in dollar bins at comic stores and stuff like that, you're going to find even better deals sometimes. But I'm talking about the people who, like me, who, you know, may not want to be driving around all over town or spending hours at a comic book store. You know, that's just not my cup of tea. So I'm going to do a video kind of teaching people how to get deals. So stay tuned for that soon. And I also have to put out, I did a video the end of last month about the 4 comics that I'm going to be sending out to PGX. I made the video, but I never uploaded it. So I gotta enter it on the computer, because it's almost the end of the month already, and I have a whole nother batch ready to go. So you might get 2 of them soon, really quick to each other. But that's because just with all the things happening, I just totally forgot about it. So every time I say I'm going to do it, I keep forgetting again. All right, so this was one of the books that got stolen from me, and for years it was really hard to get this book. I ended up getting 2 of this book, but it ended up being a lower grade. Now this one looks as good as advertised, so I'm really happy about this. It looks better than the comic I originally had back in the 80s that got stolen. A bunch of my high-grade keys all got stolen years ago. Probably, this day and age, it'd probably be about $50,000 to $100,000 worth of books. But this one actually looks nicer. I definitely paid more than what I did back then, but I cannot complain. Obviously, I'm going to look at the entire book and everything, but if anybody wants to guess what this is, I will give you a hint. It is a Marvel book. It is a Silver Age book, like I said, and if you watch my videos, if I said I already have 2 of these in lower grade, you know, that might narrow it down a little bit, but the good thing is this is a book. One of the ones I would highly recommend people getting, even in lowest grade, 0.5 if you can get it. The reason I always tell people get multiple copies, and I'll keep saying this, and it basically help people change the way that they think if you're doing it for investments. Obviously, if you're buying a book to read it, it'd be kind of dumb to buy more than 1 copy. But if you're looking to invest or do trades, if you get multiple copies of a book, like I have now 3 of this book, so if I traded or sold 2 of them, I still have the book. So I'm very happy with this, and I want to try and get people to have that mindset. So this way, I mean, if you have 1 of a book and you trade it or sell it, you might have what they call seller's remorse, because we do get attached to these books. So even with my duplicates, sometimes I find it hard to, you know, with these recent sales and everything, I actually felt it like part of me was leaving with them. So I can understand where people can get really attached to them, but if you have multiples, it makes it a little bit easier. So I recommend all the time for people to do that. So let me show the book. So far, no one got it right. I wish it was some of those. Oh, and speaking of which, before I turn this over, I decided that I'm not going to crack open that Fantastic Four #1 because what I realized is it's graded at 2.5. The book has a detached cover, which means the absolute best grade it can get would be a 3.0. But what happens if it gets lost in the mail or gets damaged or it ends up, the same grade anyway? I don't think that's worth the chance because I looked at it. Even if I did a little bit of dry cleaning on it, there's just one little spot that could use the dry cleaning, that's not going to raise the value or the grade. So I decided I would rather play on the safe side and just leave it the way it is. So that's why I took down that video. Well, I took down the live show for the next day. Why I didn't do it. All right, so you guys have been waiting long enough. I don't want to keep you long enough. This is the copy of the Key Silver Age book. And it is a beautiful copy of Amazing Spider-Man #14. Now, if you look at this book, there are only 2 problems with this book that I see. And I knew that when I bought it. Right here, you could see there's a little tiny piece that's, I guess maybe there was a price sticker or tape got stuck to it. So a little piece is missing there. And right at the top, and that's going to be because, this part is all black, so it's going to really show this. Well, it's going to make it harder if I cover it. There's a little bit of color break right at the tip. But if you go down the spine, I mean, especially here, you would see a lot of ticks. Nothing. No ticks at all. And you see the bottom edge is nice and straight. Corner here. Let me look at that. Okay, it is actually a point. It's hard sometimes to see it in the bag because sometimes the little corner here gets crushed a little bit. But you could see the edge. No chipping. Now, they said this book is about a 6 to a 7.0. Now, if you look at the price of a 7.0, I'll look it up right now. So let's go to I usually do GoCollect.com, but one of the things I also do is I tell people, go to eBay, check previously sold comics in a specific range of the grade, unless it's a graded one, then it makes it a lot easier. But you can get an idea of what people are paying. But GoCollect also shows based on previous sales. So a 6.0 would be $1,850 according to GoCollect.com. A 6.5 would be $2,300, and a 7.0, fingers crossed, would be a $3,000 book. Now, I didn't pay any of those prices. They actually had this listed at $1,500 with free shipping, but they had a best offer. So when I see $1,500 or best offer, I say, all right, let's try and make a deal. Now, we went back and forth a little bit. I started at $1,000. They went to $1,800 or $1,500, I believe. I got it down to $1,200, and that's with free shipping. The one I used to have right across here, there was a huge color breaking crease that was bent. This looks easily a 7.0. It might even be higher than that. But again, I have to check the book out. I got to check it in its entirety. So even if a comic seller on eBay does not have a best offer, don't be afraid to ask. Now, this time I didn't have to because they did have the best offer button on. So we went back and forth a little bit, and we settled for $1,200. This is easily a 6.5 to 7.5 range. And I'll show you again, the only defect, one is right there. See between the M and the A? It looks like probably somebody took it out of the bag and the tape got stuck. So you could see right here. A little piece of the cover got ripped off. And you could see in the very top, which is normal with a book this old, you could see a little bit of color break increases. But the spine is completely flat. There are no spine ticks at all. I will have to look at the back. I mean, the colors absolutely pop. So for the price I paid for this, and this is why, like, some of the money that I had, I'm reinvesting it in some comics so I can turn around and sell these. Because if you keep buying deals, and I have a couple of deals that I got coming, you could turn around and sell those, so you're actually upgrading. And I use the example of, and again, if you haven't seen the show, I highly recommend it, The Office. I've said this before, but there was an episode where Dwight, and thank you for somebody like refreshing my memory on that. It's been a little while since I've seen the TV show. Dwight Schrute, they had a like kind of a yard sale in the warehouse of their company, and Dwight Schrute started out with a paperclip, and he went from table to table and took that paperclip and upgraded it into something else, and something else, until the end he got all the way up to a telescope, which he stupidly traded for, spoiler alert, a bag of magic beans. But at the end, he says, you know, I could always buy a telescope. But let's just assume that telescope was $200. How much do you think he spent for that paperclip? Let's just assume he paid 1 penny for that. So he ultimately bought a $200 item with a penny paperclip. So he didn't spend $200. He spent 1 penny. So the best way to, even just to upgrade your books, is, especially on eBay, or if you go to yard sales or whatever, try and find deals that are way below prices of even key books. They're still out there. Just 2 days ago, I mean, I have to wait for them to come in, I got books that are about $300 to $500 off what the going rate is for those books. So you can turn those around and maybe trade them for another book that you want. Because one of the things I hear all the time is, oh, I don't have the money for that book. You can do trades. And if you upgrade your books by being very smart at the purchases that you make and you eliminate the emotion, if you buy some key books at a cheaper price, it doesn't matter what you pay for them. It matters what you can sell them for. Because remember, at some point, somebody bought this for 12 cents. Nobody in their right mind today will sell this book for 12 cents. So it doesn't matter how much of a discount you get from a seller's point of view. It's what they're willing to pay for it. So if you can find books under value, which means you have to do work, you have to be patient, you have to not get upset if you miss out on 10, 15, 20 auctions. Because let me tell you something. Like I said, this was one of the books that got stolen from me from when I got back into comics back in 2015. It took me until the mid to end of 2018 to finally win my first one, and it was only like a 3.0 or a 3.5. And then like a month or two later, I found another one. And I haven't gotten that one graded yet, but it's probably a 2.0 to a 2.5. But from 2015 to about mid-2018, I lost bid after bid, or they were too expensive, or they weren't the grade that I wanted for the price they were asking for. I didn't beat myself up. So the beautiful thing is, if you're looking for a specific comic, and if you bid and lose, you know what? So what? Be comfortable with the price that you're willing to spend. Don't go over it. Because if you pay the exact amount or higher than what it's worth, you now have no wiggle room. So if you want to trade, you're basically trading away for even swap. But if all of a sudden, like I said, I paid $1,200 for this book. If this came back a 7.0, and I will get this graded, if this comes back a 7.0, knock on wood, that's a $3,000 book. So what if I did a trade for somebody that had a $3,000 book? I didn't spend $3,000 on that book. I only spent $1,200. Now, of course, you can do this with a $10 book, with a $100 book. It doesn't have to be a high-end book. But you can build up. if you have copies of, let's just say, the Miss Marvel #1, and you bought them 2 years ago for $30, they're worth now $70 to $100 ungraded. So if you trade a bunch of them, if you got them in bunches, you can trade up for a whole nother comic. So there's always ways to find the way. So my job is to ultimately find a way to get me and my wife somewhere down south where it's warm to get into another house. Right, like I said, about a month ago, with losing all my jobs, and I still only have the one job, and the owner of this bar has never heard of a thing called advertisement. He refuses to advertise his own karaoke at his own bar and wondering why it's not skyrocketing at all. But I'm only making, currently, about $100 a week. That'd be pretty good if I was living in the 1920s. Not so good now. And like I said, about 2 weeks ago, my bank account was dwindling down to the point where I was down to about $700 left in my account. And I say this to let people know that, you know, I understand what it's like to lose everything. When my house got robbed, not only did it was ultimately, I found out years later, it was my ex-fiancée and had her father do it. Not only did they steal my comics, they stole a lot of other things like my computer and all this other stuff. They trashed the house, which was thousands of dollars of repairs. And it was the one day I forgot my wallet and left it on by my computer. She stole, well, he, and gave it ultimately to my ex-fiancée, stole my wallet, had credit cards put in her name, knew when I was going to be at work, so anytime the mail would come, she would take the credit card receipts until I found out about 5 years later that I had about $20,000 in credit cards that were put in my name. I had to refinance my house twice. So I know what it's like to have almost everything taken away from you. And there are basically two options. You put a gun to your head, which I don't recommend anybody to do because you can't solve anything when you're dead, or you slowly try and build yourself up. Now, my house got robbed in 2001. About 4 or 5, just about a month after I put all of my money into getting my own massage business and working for myself. So buying a new place, buying all the equipment, advertising, spending thousands of dollars. I almost lost my massage business. Then you know what happened in September of 2001. I almost went bankrupt before I started. So I know what it's like to have a struggle. But sometimes you slowly got to pick yourself up. And you got to think about options of what you can do. And that's one of the things about collections, if they are things that are valuable. Not everybody is going to buy books for the collectability. Some people love to read them, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I can't understand about other people in the comic book community is they don't seem to understand there is no wrong way to collect comics. Whether you fail or succeed doesn't affect me at all. And whether I fail or succeed doesn't really affect you at all unless you like my channel and you don't want me to shut down. So I want to teach people to get a different thought, a different mindset. Because I, too, used to get frustrated when I was looking for a specific book and you'd put the bid and you'd be all excited and you lose. I have techniques that can help you. And again, I'm going to do another video soon and sharing all of my secrets and everything. And like I said, there are plenty of people on YouTube, even people that don't like me and I don't watch them. I respect that they'll go to fairs and they'll go to yard sales, and they'll find really good deals. You could find a $500 comic for $10 at a yard sale. I'm not willing to drive all over the place to do that. To me, time is money. I would rather spend time with my family than being in a car all day. But if that works for you, that's great. There is no wrong way. But I teach people, if you're one of those people like me who wants to be on eBay, because the beautiful thing about eBay is their buyer protection program is top-notch. I've never been screwed yet. I've had people try and lie to me. I've had people try and send me or not send me a comic or send me something that was totally opposite or totally not like they described. And I've gotten my money back every single time. So the buyer protection program is top-notch. Even when people say, oh, no returns, final sale, and all that other stuff. I mean, you got to know about contract law to be able to help yourself. You know, ignorance of the law is no excuse. But for me, I could be at my desk 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning, look up an auction, win it, not all the time, but win the ones that I am willing to pay a certain price, and have them mail it directly to my home. How amazing is that? I mean, that's something we take for granted at this point. 20 years ago, that was non-existent. Less than 20 years ago. So take advantage of the situations, but there's always ways, and I want to instill that in people. So just in case if you're coming in, I was fortunate enough to get a very high grade. Like I said, I would not be surprised if this came back a 7.5. The seller told me it's around a 6.0 to a 7.0. I agree. A 7.0 is worth about $3,000. I got him down to $1,200. Not going to complain. Very nice seller. I was going to buy something else from him, but he wanted a little too much for that when he didn't have wiggle room, and I'm okay with that. So I was nice. I wished him well, and I said, I hope you sell them, but if you don't, my offer will still stand, and who knows? Maybe they might change their mind. That has happened. Just stay friendly. Don't get frustrated. Don't insult people. I learned that the hard way on my previous channel. Sometimes when you make stupid mistakes, you got to own up for it, and you got to become better. And if you learn from them, then they happen for a reason. So this book is going to help me, because of the amount that I paid for it, be able to get closer to the goal of getting a house. Now, one of the reasons why I recommend this book, and also to a lesser extent, Amazing Spider-Man 17 and 23, because 17 is his second appearance, but it's the first time of his glider. Because as you see here, the Green Goblin has what I call the flying vacuum. So Amazing Spider-Man 17, which is definitely not as expensive as this book. As a matter of fact, you can easily get that book for under $200. Is the first appearance of his glider. And the Spider-Man 23 is his third appearance. And that's a beautiful cover. That's one of the books I bought in the regular, not even on the shelves, back in the 80s, when you sorted through the boxes. Amazing Spider-Man 23 was in just one of the generic boxes, and I think I paid between $8 and $18 for that book back then. Now that book's probably worth, well, do I have the original? I don't know if that's one of the ones that got stolen. But, I mean, my point is, there's always deals to be found on key books. If this would have been listed correctly, he could have easily sold this for $2,400, and people would have bought it like that. He had it for $15, I believe. It was either $15 or $19. I don't know offhand, so forgive me. But he had a best offer. We went back and forth, got it for $1,200. If it comes back a 7.0, I basically more than doubled my money on a book that is a grail to some people. That's one of my personal grails, because it was one of my first earliest books I ever bought as a kid, and it's one of the books that got stolen from me. And it's going to help me and my wife move somewhere. We haven't planned that yet. We figured it's going to be about a year to maybe a year and a half to get everything, and we plan in advance. You don't want to do things last minute. I used to do that all the time. It's frustrating. I used to be one of those people at Christmas time. I would go into the stores New Year's Eve and go Christmas shopping until I bought for everybody. That'll drive you up a wall. I don't do that anymore. So I plan things in advance, and that's the best way to do it. So know what you're looking for. Know what the prices are. Wait for deals. Don't just buy the first one you see. Unless you want to pay high prices, and then when you want to trade for something, understand that you won't have enough wiggle room. So I can get an even better comic than this by trading up, because I didn't pay the full price of what this is worth. Now, I could open this up and it could be a piece of garbage with 15 pages missing. Let's hope not. But this looks pretty darn good. I will open it up and check everything else. But if it is everything the person claimed it to be, I got a pretty good deal. So don't be afraid to ask for too low. For some reason, some sellers get insulted. Those people you can't help. Some people are going to say no. Some people will fluctuate with you, and some will actually accept your offer. I have some books that I have between $100 and $900 off of its current value price on key issues by making deals. And again, that's just on eBay. I know plenty of people that will go to yard sales and thrift shops and all these different places and find things even better. But I save on gas and time. I'd rather spend it with my cats and my family. Which, by the way, people ask about Luna. She's doing really well. She's starting to improve. One of her open wounds is healing. And one of these days, if you guys are ever interested, I will show you what we're giving her. It's cool. Actually, I'll tell you. Look this up. It's Manuka honey from New Zealand. It's expensive, but it has such amazing antibacterial properties. You wouldn't need antibacterial medicine ever again. I mean, obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I can't guarantee that, and I'm not going to say that, you know, make sure you do your own research. But we applied this. This was actually told to us by our vet. And they said instead of using any, antibacterial stuff, just take this Manuka honey. You got to research it because there's a lot of fake stuff out there. It's going to be like 8.8 ounces is about $40 to $60. So it's expensive. But if you get the right stuff, we just put it on her wound. Within a day, it was already half closed. I mean, it was like a miracle. We had for a week or two, it stayed completely open with all the store brand stuff that we bought. And Ariel says, honey and turmeric are amazing for humans, don't know about cats. It's actually good for your animals, too. I researched it. So it's actually good for your animals, which would save you a lot of money. And, a lot of with medicines, there's a lot of side effects. But like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I can't prescribe anything. I will tell you to look it up. It's called Manuka honey, and it's got to be from New Zealand, and it's got to be a certain, I think it's 50 plus or something like that. My wife knows more about it than I do. But make sure you don't get the cheap stuff, because remember, you get what you pay for. It's all about the higher pollen count that's more pure. So it's a miracle stuff from what I've seen. I took some. It's actually really good tasting. It's just basically very pure honey, the purest that you can get. My wife says it helps her stomach problems because she has problems I won't get into here. I noticed the difference when I took a little teaspoon, or less than half a teaspoon. So check that out. And John Alfonso, that's really nice of you. He did a $10 super chat. And he said to help with Luna's meds. Thank you. That's really nice of you. Anybody that ever does a super chat, I always want to make sure I give them a shout out. I want to acknowledge that. So I'm not going to make this too long because you guys know me. The Italian in me loves to ramble. This is the book. I am absolutely in love with this book. This is definitely a book I'd recommend to get because remember, he will not be in the next Spider-Man movie, but it's just a matter of time because those new Spider-Man movies are doing pretty decent. The next one I'm really looking forward to. They're going to introduce probably Harry Osborn first as far as maybe an end trailer kind of thing at the end of this movie. And it's just a matter of time before they have the Green Goblin. Not having the Green Goblin in a Spider-Man movie is like not having the Joker in a Batman movie or not having Lex Luthor in a Superman movie. It's just, it doesn't work as good without those characters. So this book still has room to grow. So like I said, even if you can't afford a lower grade of this book, get Amazing Spider-Man 17 or Amazing Spider-Man 23. Of the two, try and get 17 because there is significance. Because even though it's his second appearance, in issue 17, he has the first appearance of the glider that he uses to this day. So that is significant. So that's it. If you want to give this a thumbs up, I always appreciate it. I did a video earlier today. If you want to check that out, I would very much be grateful. I'm still selling the comics if you're interested. All the information is in the description, all the way at the bottom of the description. A couple of things changed a little bit, but nothing major. And don't forget, it's not you, it's not I, it's We Love Comics. And today, since Anthony Crabble said he finally made it in time for a live stream, which is unfortunately at the end, but we are going to do and give you the surprise subscriber shout out. So congratulations on that. Thank you everybody for listening. Keep collecting the comics. Get multiple copies if you can. And soon, Jake says, why does Chris only have 2 likes? Well, that's all right. People are not in a hurry. I know the people will take the time to do it. And if they don't, that means they didn't enjoy it. So I want people to only do it if you think I earned it. If you don't think I earned it, please don't do it. I want to make sure it's honest. So thanks for watching, guys. Love you all. Hope you have a great day. And happy collecting. And I'll have some more videos coming up later in the week. Peace out, everybody.